Cool. Yeah, and I hear a lot. I want to handle objections. Everything we do is getting rid of objections. So if I show up on time, I'm going to have less objections. If I build trust and value with the customer, I'm going to have less objections. If I tell them my why, I'm going to have less objections. If I figure out their disc profiling, I'm going to have less objections. I agree. What I don't want you to have to deal with too many objections. I want to get those out of the way. I want to build so much trust, so much value. They like you, they trust you so much, and you speak to them through their disc profiles, and they know you're real human of why you do what you do, to the point that they don't object anymore. They just buy. And yes, we're going to still have people who will object at the end. I get that. But I'm trying to get it where we don't even have to objection handle. And that's a great point that you brought up about objection handling. Because a lot of times, I'm uncomfortable saying my why, or I don't want to learn disc profiling, or I don't want to get to the job 10 minutes early because I want to sleep in. But by doing that, you're going to be handling more objections. I don't know about you guys, but I don't like handling objections. Like I don't want to sit in front of a customer at a table and handle objections. I don't want to do that. I'm assuming you guys don't want to either, right? So let's do all the work on the front end so we don't have to do that work on the back end that we don't want to do. I would rather get there early and tell them my why and laugh at their jokes I don't care about and do all that kind of stuff. I'd rather do all that than handle objections at the table. That's me.
So they usually say, our objections usually come from pricing the job wrong. So going over your invoices with your team and everybody working together and pricing a job would probably take away a lot of objections. That's what I have found out.
Yeah, so you mean...
I mean, so if your technicians, if you don't go over their price book, some may think,
sure.
After doing this, I had technicians with me for 2 years, and we had discrepancies on open access and
sure.
And limited access.
And what was it? Limited access.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's just common sense, right?
Yeah.
As an owner, and it's not.
Right. Right. Yep. No, I agree. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Comes down to objections.
Yeah, it can. Yeah, it can help get the price down. Yep. On some of those, sure. Yeah. So, all right, cool. All good things. All right, we'll get to all those. If I don't, let me know. But I know somebody told me when I got here that closing percentage was big, so I wrote that up there first. But again, all this has to do with closing. Building value, building trust, doing all this is closing, right? So just think that it's not one thing, it's everything. It's doing everything. It's usually not the big things, it's all these little things added up. That's what gets the sale. It's not usually one big thing we have to do and we get the sale every time, right? And it changes, because as we know, many people are different. We're dealing with 4 different disc profiles with 2 different genders. All kinds of things can come from that, right? So with one works on one person, one might not work on another person. That's why we have to kind of do them all. Some people care that you drive a nice wrapped truck. Some people don't care what you drive. Some people care you have straightforward pricing. Some people don't care at all. Some people care you look professional. Some people don't care at all. That's why we have to do them all. We have to do everything, because we don't know what it is to the customer on this, what this customer particular likes, right? So we have to kind of do them all. All right, so on page 13 of your books, the second question, it says, questions customers will ask. I'd like you to write these down. So these are the 5 things that customers will ask. What am I being recommended? That's the first thing they're going to ask themselves. What am I being recommended from you? The next question they're going to ask is, why should I buy it? The next question they're going to ask is, why should I buy it from you? After that, they're going to ask, how do I pay for it? And then the next question they're going to ask is, when should I buy it? Those are the questions that everybody asks themselves before they buy something, whether you know it or not. And the reason I bring that up is if you don't know the answers to those questions, how is your customer going to know the answers to those questions? So when you recommend something, you better know your product. Know what it is and what it does and how it's going to benefit them. Because what am I being recommended, okay? Why should I buy it? That's usually the features and benefits of it, of why they're going to buy it. Why should I buy it from you? Why? We have to answer these questions. If we don't know these questions ourselves, it's really hard for the customer to understand these questions, right? How do I pay for it? That's why I highly suggest every single time we offer financing on every single option. I want them to know how to pay for it every time without them having to ask. And when should I buy it? Now or today. Yep, we're going to go into how to get that to happen. All right?